Sorry, my page. I gotta bring it back up. There we go. All right, y'all. Shalom to elective Israel, to the hopeful elected Israel, you Hebrew Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indian Haitians, and the foreign Israelites that are scattered across the four corners of the earth. We look like the foreign Israelites, like the other nations. Got to give all praise to Barak Yahawah, Barak Yahawashi, Barak Yahawah, Barak Yahawashi, Barak Yahawah, Barak Yahawashi. I want to give all praise to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash. I want to give double honors to the elders, apostles, a great millstone led me to this truth. And God been ordained by the Lord to teach the flock how to live, repent, pray, fast, and show forth the Lord's righteousness and mercy, forgiveness, judgment. And wrath. Oh man, what I do? Okay. Why does it keep doing that? I also want to give, I want to give double honor to the elders and apostles, a great millstone led me to this truth. And in faith, sincerity. Teach the flock how to live, repent, pray, fast, and show forth the Lord's righteousness and mercy, judgment, forgiveness, and wrath to all those who are part of the hopeful elect. Lord willing, be part of that number. Lord willing, this be edifying to those who fear in the name of the Lord and are striving to show forth the Lord's righteousness every day to the best of their abilities. His judgment always comes to light. Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 5, and it's not slack. 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 9. So I got a lot of topics I'm going to deal with today. I want to thank Bahasham, Yahawashi for giving me another day to breathe, serve, exalt his name for the flock, edify the flock, and Lord willing, to be edifying. So we're going to be dealing with 6 USA banks. 6A, it talks about 6 USA banks at risk of bank runs as 1 trillion uninsured deposits raise risk of bank failures. So we're just going to watch a little bit of this, and we're going to get into it. We're going to get into what people have been talking about and panicking about, and then we're going to watch a couple other videos, and then we're going to get into some other topics that are going on. It's every day the Lord's judgment comes to light. So let's deal with this first.
New questions about how one of America's bigger banks failed and what's being done to avoid contagion. Fear also spreading from Wall Street to Main Street. Look at this. Trading was halted on at least 20 regional banks after shares fell by as much as 80%.
The federal government stepped in overnight, backstopping the failed banks in California and New York, but worries persist that regional banks also could have similar issues. Several were battered in early trading outside Silicon Valley Bank's main branch today in Santa Clara.
We're here to protect you guys.
Federal officials greeted bank customers lined up to get access to their money.
SVB customers tell me what frustrates them is the lack of clarity on exactly how much money they'll have access to and when. This line has been growing since before the bank opened this morning, some traveling from as far as Australia.
SVB had more than $200 billion in assets with investments in long-term treasury bonds whose value plummeted as interest rates went up, causing the run on the bank. Exposed were companies like Roku, Pinterest, and Roblox, but also small family-owned businesses like StrongSuit.
The capital that we have in SVB today, and we're already taking action to move those dollars, and we're being very thoughtful about the types of partners that we want to work with moving forward.
Americans can rest assured that our banking system is safe. Your deposits are safe.
Hi, welcome back to Joe Blogs. So President Biden says that everything is fine. Your deposits are safe. But after the failure of 3 banks in less than a week in the USA, is that really true? If everything is now fine and dandy, why have the stock markets reacted so badly to the failure of these banks? We've seen bank shares being hammered over the course of the last few days, and it's likely that that's going to continue over the course of the next few days and weeks. So in today's video, I'll have a look at the support scheme that the Federal Reserve has announced with regards to customers' deposits with banks. We'll then have a look at some data which compares the current level of deposits that banks are holding with the level of loans and securities that various banks are holding. So this is really looking at the availability of cash that those banks have. We'll then have a look at some data which takes account of unrealized losses that banks are sitting on right now and what the impact of those losses would be on their capital ratios.
See, it's Joe Blogs. And they shall make their own tongue fall upon themselves. That's what he's doing. He's letting you know this is going to get bad. You know?
We're going to look at 6 banks in the USA that Moody's, the rating agency, has now downgraded because they consider them to be higher risk. We'll have a look at what's going on with international banking giant Credit Suisse. A number of problems over the last few years, and concerns are rising about their liquidity situation. And then finally today I'll wrap up with my summaries to what I think is likely to happen over the course of the next few weeks, and whether or not there's a rising risk of more bank failures.
Today,
Monday.com makes scans great again. Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to say again because they never were, and they're complicated.
Infomercial.
Today, thanks to the quick action of my administration over the past few days, Americans can have confidence that the banking system is safe. Your deposits will be there when you need them. Small businesses across the country, the deposit accounts at these banks can breathe easier knowing they'll be able to pay their workers and pay their bills. And their hardworking employees can breathe easier as well. No losses will be, and this is an important point, no losses will be borne by the taxpayers. Let me repeat that. No losses will be borne by the taxpayers. Instead, the money will come from the fees that banks pay into the deposit insurance fund. The management of these banks will be fired. If the bank is taken over by FDIC, the people running the bank should not work there anymore. Investors in the banks will not be protected. They knowingly took a risk, and when the risk didn't pay off, investors lose their money. That's how capitalism works.
So as you've just heard,
See, remember how yesterday he was like, yeah, man, we good, everybody good, right? Now they like, yeah, you know what, you took a risk. America Babylon Great, the whole thing is a risk. Okay? This motherfucker coming to the ground.
from Joe Biden, the USA has introduced a new support scheme to protect all depositors in the event of the failure of their bank. And this actually...
See that? All depositors. That's even the investors, right? Well, now they're saying, well, that's how capitalism works. You got took. Well, when Yahawashi come blow this whole nation up, guess what? You got took.
Brought on directly by the failure of Silicon Valley Bank on Friday the 10th of March and the subsequent failure on Sunday the 12th of March of Signature Bank. The additional funding offered to banks will be made available through the creation of a new bank lending program, which offers loans of up to 1 year in lend to banks, saving associations, credit unions, and other eligible depository institutions, pledging US Treasuries, agency debt, mortgage-backed securities, and other qualifying assets as collateral. These assets will be valued at par, and the loans offered will be an additional source of liquidity against high-quality securities, eliminating an institution's need to quickly sell those securities in times of stress. The Department of Treasury will make available up to $25 billion from the Exchange Stabilization Fund as a backstop. However, the Federal Reserve does not anticipate that it will be necessary to draw on these backstop funds. So what does all of that mean, and why has this facility been structured in this way? If you've been following the channel, you'll know that the failure of both Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank wasn't down to the fact that those banks didn't have enough assets to cover their liabilities. They actually had plenty of assets. The problem that both of those banks had was that they'd been investing their customer deposits into government securities and bonds over the course of the last few years. And because of the rapid rise in interest rates that we've seen over the last 12 months, all of those bonds were out of the money because there's an inverse relationship between interest rates and the price of bonds. And because both banks experienced a run where their customers demanded all of their money was returned, they had to start selling those bonds in order to generate cash to pay back their customers. And due to the fact that the bonds were trading below par, the sale of those bonds crystallized losses. And when Silicon Valley Bank announced that it had lost more than $1 billion, it caused even more customers to withdraw their money, and the problem spiraled out of control to the point where the bank collapsed. So what this scheme from the Federal Reserve does is allow any bank that needs cash to be able to get a loan against its bonds at par. So it doesn't matter if that bond is currently trading at a discount to its face value, because you can borrow 100% of the long-term value of that bond. And the logic behind this scheme is that as long as a bank has net assets, so the value of its bonds are worth more than the customer deposits, it can now access that cash by taking it from the Federal Reserve as a loan and use that cash to repay some of the customer deposits. So theoretically, if this facility had been available to Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank run by taking loans from the Federal Reserve. But when you look at the details of this scheme, the fundamental flaw in the design is that there is only $25 billion that's been set aside to fund these loans. At the time of its failure, Silicon Valley Bank...
So remember how you said $25 billion was set aside alone to be able to do the loan, right? Well, yesterday it said it was like $600 billion or something that was lost. See what I'm saying? $25 billion put aside is not enough. Not even half. Okay. Okay. So, you know, we're gonna put in the scripture and we're gonna move to the next video. So there's a couple more. So lock you. Lord been putting, you know, be a lot more versatile, and you know, he's been putting the spirit on me to be more in his presence, and also he's been putting the spirit on me to, you know, stay with the times. That's what we do. 2nd Esdras chapter 6 verse 22, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the fool's storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. So that's what's going to happen. Suddenly it's going to happen. Suddenly it's going to crash. But that he's talking about a whole lot of stuff. If you want to go watch the video, going to move on to the next one. Bad news for banking. Why more trouble is coming following SVB and Signature Bank collapse. So let's listen to what this Edomite got to say. Let's pull this up first before we get to putting these other ones in. Pretty sure it's Psalm 64. Yep. Psalm 64 verse 8. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. So let's see what this rich Edomite talking about.
Big bank failures are roiling the financial market. But here's why more trouble is coming. Hello, I'm Steve Forbes, and this is What's Ahead. Will you get the...
You're on a Carnival cruise at Amber Cove. 3 generations of...
This is Steve Forbes. So this is the Forbes news article, people. He know what he talking about.
Steve Forbes, and this is What's Ahead, where you get the insights you need to better navigate these turbulent times. The sudden, sensational collapse of Silicon Valley Bank, SVB, which had assets of over $200 billion, hit financial markets like an earthquake. Worries grow about the solvency of other banks, a fear fueled as a second large bank was shuttered on Sunday. Yes, these institutions made their particular mistakes, and this will be true of other enterprises, financial and commercial, that will be failing in coming months. But there is a far larger issue here. The blame for this mess lies squarely with the Federal Reserve and other central banks. Their big blunder, suppressing interest rates for years after the financial crisis of 2008.
Hold on. I got a scripture, Lord, putting the spirit on me to put in. Hold on, Esau. We know you up to something, but we're gonna do this. What did it just tell me? Yes. Call on Bahasham, Yahawashi. This is how Esau Edom get down, man. They've been ramping up cash for years, right? Ecclesiasticus 14:10. A wicked eye kneweth his bread, and he is a niggard at his table. Basically, niggard basically means he don't give a fuck about nobody else eating. He give a fuck about what's at his table. But we're gonna look it up. Look.
Niggard.
A stingy or ungenerous person. They're not generous. Okay, they don't help the people. Okay, they're not generous people. Okay, that's how they are, and that's what it means when it says he is a niggard at his a niggard at his table. He's stingy. He don't care about nobody else dying. If everybody over there perishing and 50 million people dead from the earthquake, he's not gonna get up and go over there and help them people. He's gonna say, well, my table good. I'm good. That's how Esau Edom, so-called white man is. I'm good. You know what I mean? That's how he acts. He acts like he's all good. Everything's good because there ain't nothing going on in my house. Until it hit his house, he don't worry about it. So now we're gonna look up this word. So this word, inuith, is right here, definition meaning a feeling of utter weariness and discontent resulting from safety or lack of interest. See, boredom. See, that's how he is. He's got a whole bunch of bread, so he's like, he doesn't have no care for nobody else. You know what I mean? So that's why you got Edomites even out here struggling. He don't give a fuck if it ain't got nothing to do with his shit. It's gonna cost him.
2009, with the connivance of their finance ministries, in America's case, the Treasury Department, and to the applause of too many politicians, the Fed and its fellow central bankers knocked down long-term rates by binge buying government bonds as well as mortgages, and in some cases, other assets as well. For a while, interest rates in many places went negative. Never in human history had the cost of borrowing money been so low. But as economists should have known, suppressing the price of something distorts the marketplace. Former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers once remarked, perhaps indelicately, that there are two ways to destroy a city. One is bombing it. The other is to impose rent controls, which wrecks the normal housing market.
And that's finna happen. That both of them is finna happen. Okay, both of them.
What the Fed, the Bank of Japan, the Bank of England, and the European Central Bank did was to impose the equivalent of rent controls on the credit markets by purchasing trillions of dollars worth of debt securities. Countries' debts exploded. Politicians love being able to spend, and the cost of doing so not going up. It would be like a consumer putting $10,000 on his credit card and the monthly payments go down. Countless companies that could took on lots of debt. Then with the pandemic came an orgy of spending and corresponding money printing. But even before COVID-19, central banks were printing a lot of money. The combination of lockdowns and easy money set off a sensational and politically unpopular surge in prices, an inevitable but unanticipated escalation of inflation as central banks raising interest rates. Numerous companies borrowed more than they should have when the cost of money is ultra cheap. Some banks find themselves loaded with low-yielding loans and securities. That's why you should expect more disasters. For almost a whole generation, artificially low rates had people scrambling to get higher yields, taking on real risk. The solution is for governments to get their economies growing again, i.e., cutting tax rates, reducing regulations, curbing spending, and stabilizing the value of their currencies.
Okay, so the real solution is Yahawashi, destroying all these nations and Israel being restored in its rightful place because these devils don't know how to run nothing right. Next video. All hands on deck across the entire state. California hit with 11 atmospheric river.
Could cause big problems to our north, with the National Weather Service calling it a direct threat to life and property.
CBS 8 political reporter Morgan Reiner is finding out what several state emergency agencies are doing to try to keep us.
The ability to help people escape reality, at least for the next week or so.
Agencies are doing to try to keep us safe with this round, Morgan.
Cal OES is hard at work around the clock, coordinating with law enforcement and other first responders across the state. A spokesperson told me it's like a constant chess match, trying to figure out the best place to move and station crews right now.
The continuous rain and snowmelt is having a major impact on communities up and down the state.
We have 40 of our 58 counties that are under a state of emergency right now, so it's really all hands on deck across the entire state.
Across California, there are 16 different rivers above flood stage.
We have 27,000 people that are under evacuation orders right now. That number is changing all the time and very well could go up throughout the day as we see this next brunt of the system come through.
Swollen creeks and rivers leaving levees at the breaking point.
We've seen some of the levees that have broken across the state, and Monterey County is certainly the biggest example of that right now. But we're seeing rains at a level that we haven't seen in 30, 40, 50 years.
Cal OES is at the center of it all at the State Operations Center, coordinating the National Guard, CHP, Caltrans, and Cal Fire.
We're looking at about 28 total incidents that Cal Fire Resources are committed to right now, with about 41 active missions that we're supporting.
Each agency ready to respond at a moment's notice.
With a wildfire, we're trying to stop the wildfire as soon as we can. With this, we know we can't stop this storm. It is coming in with its full force.
Yep.
We're trying to anticipate where the greatest need's going to be. We are pre-positioning resources in those areas, whether it's a high water vehicle with the California National Guard, some of their heavy helos that we can use for rescue efforts.
Yep. How about Yahawashi coming? Ain't nothing you can do about it. He's coming to visit the world. So, gonna pull this up. 2nd Esdras, chapter 16, verse 19. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent. They're sent from Yahawashi as scourges for amendment. What's amendment? Let's look it up. A minor change or addition designed to improve a text, piece of legislation, etc. Okay, right?
Amendment.
Then it says an article added as the U.S. Constitution, of course. Then it says something which is added to soil in order to improve its texture or fertility. Okay. What he's doing is he's adding revenge. Okay. He's adding on his revenge to those that hate him every third and fourth generation. Okay. This is to defend the elect of Israel. Lord willing, we part of that number. Okay, he's let's pull it up. You got a lot of our people don't believe they can't wrap their head around reincarnation. They will. Because the Lord puts the spirit on everybody to know who you are. Because in the seventh trouble in the trials, everybody's gonna know what's going on. People are gonna panic. Numbers 14:18. The Lord, Yahawashi, is long suffering and of great mercy, forgiving iniquity and transgression, by no means clearing the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation. Why? Well, what does it mean by that? You are your forefathers. Whatever you was doing back then, you're doing it today. Either you was worshiping Bahasham, Qadash, and you died, or you was worshiping everything else and you died. Period. It says some people here will not taste death, though. It says some people. But we don't know who they are. We don't know who they are. This is Matthew chapter 16, verse 28. This is Yahawashi speaking. Verily I say unto you, there be some standing here which shall not taste of death till they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. See? Some people here, they're not going to see death. You know? But whoever we are, well, Lord willing, we part of the elect, whatever lot we're in, whether you got to go face the guillotine or whether you get saved without dying, or don't matter. We just want to be part of the elect. We want to show the Lord that we care. You know, and we want to show him that his sacrifice meant something. He did that to be able to save people. He wants to save people. You know, this is mercy right now. Everything's already set up. He could already been like, go, take these motherfuckers out. But he doesn't want to do that. He wants to call the rest of Israel to repentance. So he's giving us time. And in the meanwhile, he's fucking shit up. Now, here we go with this. So-called white man always trying to bring a solution. And here he is. Elon Musk open to buying Silicon Valley Bank. He gonna try to turn it into a digital currency. So let's watch this.
All right, so let's start with the big story that we are tracking on Beyond at this hour. Now, if you are an investor, and especially in the United States of America, this is news that should seriously concern you. After the American regulators decided to pull the plug on the Silicon.
Are you driving way less than you used to? Do you have a clean driving record? Are you over 25? Do you not have a DUI?
Damn, Eve, shut up.
Regulators decided to pull the plug on the Silicon Valley Bank. Elon Musk has now made a statement that he is open to the idea of buying the collapsed Silicon Valley Bank and turning it into a digital bank. It is surprising. collapse on Friday, the startup-focused lender Financial Group became the greatest bank failure since the financial crisis that shook the world back in 2008, sending shockwaves through global markets and also leaving billions of assets of businesses and investors stranded. Authorities have seized the assets of the Silicon Valley Bank. The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation has been called in to take over the institution and to handle the sale of its assets. The FDIC has
All right, sorry, we're back. Had a little internet disruption. Let's go back to it. Let's back it up just a little bit.
And also the bank's main headquarters and all of its branches will reopen on Monday, but the FDIC has reported that as of the end of 2022, 89% of the bank's $175 billion in deposits is not insured.
Is not insured.
We'll get access to the $250,000 on Monday. But after that, trying to get access to the remaining capital is to take months. So the reality is we can't operate our business.
And while, see, this is what's happening to these CEOs. While they're waiting to try to get their money back, there's going to be other banks closing. Just like I said earlier in the other video, other banks going to be closing down. So these, all you guys who CEOs, top of head, got all your bread, you're doing good, you better be over here flipping chicken with me. Okay? I'm not letting you take my job because I do it better than you. No, I'm just playing. I don't care. Like, I just go do it so I can keep my little provisions, my little daily, to stay with this. To be able to, this costs a little bit of money. Not a ton of money. But, it's provisions enough to do this. And, Esau Edom's trying to falsely accuse me right now, so I have to get a lawyer and I have to go to court. I have to get my shit together. You know what I'm saying?
Without accessing some capital. So our options are basically to go find debt until we can get access to this capital.
Now look down here. Esau Edom talk about broke. He hold his head. Talking about banks collapsing. Do this ASAP. No. You need to call on Bahasham, Yahawashi, not trusting this system at all. Okay, we do this. Yeah, we go work. We do all that. But that's just because the Lord said there's got to be a balance. But once this shit's done with, hey, the only thing that's going to be standing is the ones who cry inside about the abominations done in the midst thereof. Job, or it's Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 4. That's the only one that's going to be standing at the end of this. And whoever's following them. And the main ones is Great Millstone. If you don't believe it, you will.
Now, the abrupt failure of the Silicon Valley Bank has shocked the startup community, which had grown to rely on the lender as a stable source of funding, especially for the most ambitious projects in the tech industry. It had in fact become the 16th largest U.S. bank in the year 2022.
And I'm not saying that they're the main ones, but there's other ones. They're the only, sir. They're the only ones who are crying and sighing correctly. It's not an unfamiliar sound. What I'm trying to say is you got some people who are going to follow them diligently and cling to them. Some of them are going to stay in the truth and be taken care of too. That's why you don't want to ever dare make yourself part of that number. You can be over here doing this every day like me and going hard, doing it every day. But as soon as you get proud, Lord just, I don't need you. See what I'm saying? That's why I be in fear every day. Like, man, thinking about the things that I've done in the past, thinking about the things that, you know, I messed up on recently, you know, period. What's this talking about? Oh, okay. So, you know, we're going to keep going.
The bank had over $200 billion in terms of assets and approximately $175 billion in terms of deposits. Currently, the tech startups are facing some serious trouble when it comes to financing.
If you're a startup, cash is king, is critical. And so access to the cash to be able to now pay your employees to actually cover the expenses you've got is the thing that I'm mostly worried about. It's just to make sure that we can do that. And so we'll figure out a way to bridge and manage that.
The collapse of the Silicon Valley Bank comes to the heels of the crypto-focused Silvergate Bank's shutdown. Silvergate marked the first US bank casualty of FTX's collapse and the market rout that followed the news. Those woes were already reverberating across financial markets, in addition to the widespread worries about the Federal Reserve's plans. But the bigger worry is not just the risk of contagion globally from the Silicon Valley Bank's collapse, but also what the rising cost of money would actually do to other banks as well. The rapid escalation of the SVB's issues after the bank announced on Wednesday that it would raise money underscores as to have aggressive policy tightening by the Fed and other central banks to battle inflation is now revealing the serious inherent weakness in the market.
There wasn't no money coming out that thing. Hey, tripping. See, he said there's weakness in the market. What it say? There's weakness in the market. What it say? Yeah, that judgment, man. Lord ain't playing. Psalm 64, verse 7. But Yahawah shall shoot them with an arrow. Suddenly shall they be wounded. And when you look up that word arrow, it means to divide. And I got it in another video that I did talking about is divide, to cut off short, to finish. And that's what he's doing in America, Babylon the Great. He's cutting it short.
U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has called the SVB collapse as a matter of serious concern. The White House, however, has said that the banking system still remains pretty resilient and that the regulators have effective tools to address this type of an incident.
You mentioned Silicon Valley Bank. There are recent developments that concern a few banks that I'm monitoring very carefully. And when banks experience financial losses, it is and should be a matter of concern.
Secretary of the Treasury, Secretary Yellen, is closely tracking the developments with the Silicon Valley Bank.
See, Chair U.S. Council Economic Advisors, they women, man. And they not just any women, they so-called black women, but they probably tares. They probably Esau Edom babies, okay? We're going to pull this up. And women get so emotional about it. What's wrong with women ruling? You're not supposed to be talking. You're not supposed to be out here doing that. You're supposed to be at the house taking care of the kids, or at the house, you know, if you don't got no kids, calling on Yahawashi and shutting the fuck up until he gives you a husband to follow. You're not supposed to be doing shit. Okay? But now, not it's not really concerning the widows. There's widows, okay? There's widows. There's ladies that are widows, and like when Elijah was in the wilderness, a raven fed him, okay? And then I can't remember exactly where this is in. Let me see. Because I just learned this. The Lord put the spirit on me and had me learn this. He's been teaching me more and more day by day. You know, and everyone, what I know, I teach about. What I don't teach about. But he was talking about, he fed him with a raven when he led him out there to the wilderness, and then he told him that when he got somewhere that a widow would take care of him. This is in 1 Kings chapter 17. Okay, you read 1 Kings chapter 17, it talks about this subject. And you know, the Lord used certain widows for some, because we're basically widows. You know, we're fatherless out here. We don't have, you know, we're not fatherless. We got Yahawashi, but what I'm saying is physically, we don't really have like a father figure that guides us. You know, we have Yahawashi who guides us spiritually. You know, in a sense, our fathers, you know, they say they're here for us. You know, they say they got our back. They do stuff for us. Like my father, like, hey, he never did. He always did everything he could for us. But the Lord didn't put the spirit on him to teach us about Yahawashi and Yahawashi. And they don't understand how important that is. But, you know, Lord willing, you know, he comes to his senses. I talked to him about it one time, and I haven't talked to him since. But, you know, it's not like he's not there for me. He's still my father. But, you know, my true father is Yahawashi and Yahawashi. You know, that's just my physical father. And so what it means, like, obey your honor and honor your father and your mother, it's talking about your spiritual fathers, man. It's talking about obey them. Because if your real father, what if he go take the mark of the beast? What if he go take the MOTB? You supposed to obey him and go do that when he tell you to do it? Fuck no. You're not supposed to do that. Jeremiah 31 verse 22. And that's where they headed, because they don't understand. Jeremiah chapter 31 verse 22. How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For the Lord, Yahawashi, have created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man. That's why you got these old buckethead Leroy women talking about they know what the fuck they talking about we paying attention. And this is not how it's supposed to be, man. And that's what's wrong with a lot of Israel today. They always trying to push a doctrine that's all soothing to everybody. Just like Amari Stoudemire, there was a lot of Akim last night. We were talking about Amari Stoudemire, and he was trying to be like, oh, well, we can worship our heritage without bothering people. No, we're supposed to unsettle the waters. We're supposed to make it uncomfortable for you, because we're uncomfortable. You know what I mean? We try to be humble and in meekness, but if you can't take the other side of the Bible, which is worry and strife and trouble, man. If you can't even handle listening to somebody tell your ass what the fuck is up and like really what's going on, and like not to be doing this shit, or you're gonna get put to death, then you know, then that's just the Lord sifting you out and marking you. You know what I mean? You got to be able to handle anguish and tribulation. That's what Israel's all about. You can't handle somebody correcting you or telling you going off, you're in some big trouble, man. That's that America Babylon the Great spirit on you. You need to repent and fast and pray, because that fasting is really important. People don't understand how important that is. The fasting is important. You know, you gotta anoint, put oil over your head for the day. Don't tell nobody else that you're doing it, and then fast, and that'll get them demons off of you. The way you think it, you know what I'm saying? That's very important. Okay, and that's straight from Great Millstone. Teachers of Great Millstone. Everything I talk about is something I learned from Great Millstone. I've literally changed my whole life since I ran to these men. You know what I'm saying? These are the men. Shalom, sister. I was just talking about the whole thing about the widow and Elijah coming in, and he came in and he fed him with that raven in 1 Kings chapter 17, and told him to go down to the widow, and she took care of him. That story really resonated me a lot whenever I thought about it. I was like, man, that reminded me of somebody. Because I don't have no women come on my page, okay? You know, you got these other guys, the other Hakim, they do videos and stuff about women, like, hey, you don't want to deal with all these women coming up. Ain't none of that. Ain't none of them come up on my page. Only though you the only sister that came up on my page and been diligently watching. So Salawam. For real. It's crazy how the Lord works. But you know, we all go off. So I'm a kind of guy who I have a lot of mercy, and you know, I try to have a lot of mercy. You know, well, not for Jake, not for 2/3. They be pissing me off. They be pissing me off. They be pissing me off, man, because they just don't want to listen. They want to call for help and ask you for help, and then you try to tell them how to you know, live right, and then they be like, "No, I don't believe in that." All right, whatever. Quit asking me for help, then, man. Shit. But like I said, you got these U.S. Council of Economic Advisors. They trying to act like they know what they talking about, but you know how these women are. These is probably tares. These probably Esau Edom babies. You know, going up here being in the White House. You know, so
what I will emphasize as well is that our banking system is in a fundamentally different place than it was, a decade ago, and that the reforms that were put into place back then really provide the kind of resilience that we'd like to see. So we have every faith in our regulators.
Now, nearly half of the US technology and healthcare companies that received funding last year were SVB's customers. The bank also had connections with leading tech companies such as Shopify and ZipRecruiter. US banks have lost over $100 billion in terms of stock market valuation in just the last 2 days, with some European banks losing about $50 billion in terms of their valuation. Thus, SVB's fallout has also raised fears that more banks could actually face the same fate against the backdrop of high inflation and the ever-rising interest rates. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.
all right, that's just a little
Now
bit.
I know what medical
Talking about, Elon Musk talking about opening. He talking about buying the bank and turning into a digital bank. We know what that leads to. That leads to the CHIP. That leads to the Charagma. The ready your mark, say go. The incision in your hand where you can scan into your door and get in. We're gonna keep talking about it because Jake want to act like he don't know what's going on. So now, it's another video. I like these little short videos that kind of talk about everything, But it says, is the U.S. economy in a once in a lifetime position? Yes, it is. That transition to the MARK. And just yesterday, I did a video talking about 15-minute cities, okay, that they got in China. And China basically the test dummy for America, Babylon the Great. And they finna push this over here after they see how China works with it. But China at the same time, and Russia, they've been threatening the U.S. They also been trying to take over the World Bank because, they trying to act like since, they're both Edomites, Egyptian against Egyptian, but they want to be like, oh, well, y'all not doing it right. Well, watch, we can do it right. Yahawashi gonna come fuck all them up. So we're gonna watch a little bit of this and see what this is talking about.
Throughout 2022, the economy remained strong. Unemployment hovered near historic lows.
Showing unemployment at a half-century low.
Wages were on the rise. Wages were on the rise.
We also saw some wage growth, about 5% annually,
causing the Fed to continue pumping the brakes to try to cool down inflation.
The Fed has been raising rates in hopes of slowing the economy. And with so many businesses still hiring, that means the economy isn't really slowing that quickly.
That riled Wall Street.
Facing the growing possibility of a recession, Wall Street spent another day in turmoil.
And you're probably feeling it in those 401ks, stocks.
For the stock market and bond market.
Just before I said 401ks, it was one of the apostles, okay? GMS Last Stand. I can't remember exactly what his name is. I'm still learning all the apostles' names. I'm very new. And now I haven't even been brought into the fold, okay? I'm just a servant. So I'm still learning things. I haven't even been called by the Lord. I'm just doing this hoping that the Lord sees my diligent work and sees that I care. But that's why I just say I'm a servant of the hopeful elect. I ain't nobody, man. But it talked about how GMS Last Stand, he was saying just last night I was watching him, and he said them 401ks is gonna fail. Now, Lord put the spirit on me, come do this video, man. Calling Yahawashi.
It was the worst year since the great financial crisis in 2008.
The NASDAQ down for 4 straight quarters for the first time since the dot-com bust.
In 2022, you've had this very unusual situation whereby you've made double-digit losses on both risky assets, stocks, and risk-free assets, US Treasuries. That's not supposed to happen. But there's been absolutely nowhere to hide.
Nope.
That is a big issue for retirement plans, pension systems. No matter how well you diversified your portfolio, there was no risk mitigation in it at all.
It was all losses.
It was all losses.
All losses.
U.S. existing home sales.
He said this whole place, America, Babylon, the Greats, is lost.com. You're going to lose every direction because it's a system designed to fail. So Esau Edom can come in with his savior plan. Take that C here. All roads lead to the Quran.
Plunged to a 12-year low in December.
You've seen a huge impact on the housing market.
The Federal Reserve's interest rate hiking cycle has pushed
housing prices have started actually coming down for the first time in a very long time. Mortgage applications have decreased. The crypto market, you've seen a number of companies wiped out.
And Jake still don't get it. You see Jake right there? Jake still don't understand. That's probably another tear. You hear that be talking? That ain't no Jake, man. That's a fucking tear, man. Let's pull up the scriptures about it. That's a fucking tear, man. Ain't no Jake talking like that, man. Ain't no Jake talking like that. Y'all know I ain't no Jake. I make a new beat every time I put on I make a new beat just for background music, just do my videos. Okay, these motherfuckers is some tears. Okay, they are not so-called Negroes. So Matthew 13:30. Let both grow together until the harvest. And in the time of the harvest, I will say to the reapers, and that reminds me of that song. You know, they got that one song, that rock song, they go, Jesus don't fear the reaper or whatever. Well, it's really saying Yahawashi don't fear the reaper. He don't fear the reapers. He gonna fuck them up. Gather ye together. First the tares. And the reason why I know that song, because they play that shit everywhere. You know, so you know how it is, the white people, man, the so-called white people, the Edomites. They be playing they whack ass shit all over the place. I would say to the reapers, gather ye together, first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them. This is Lord sifting us, but gather the wheat into my barn, which is the elect. You know, Lord willing, we part of that number. But I want to do this. I want to go look it up, because that's what Great Millstone does. They look up, you know how we do. We look up the words. You know how they do. So we followers. We're gonna do the same thing they do. You know, we try to follow in their footsteps. Some great men, you know, bring us out of whatever kind of spirit we were in the world. You know, because Esau Edom almost had us when we was broke down. We was giving up. These men bring us back, you know. So I give these men all diligence and honor, man. You know, especially the ones who rebuke me. You know, I've gotten way better since then. So tears. Let's look that up.
Strong's G 2215. Zizanian.
A kind of darnel, resembling wheat, except grains are black, which means like they can't be eaten. These are figs that can't be eaten. But I want to look up that word too. You know, because I haven't looked it up yet. You know, it's all about learning every day. At least a little bit, you know. It's a patient race. So you want to look up, you know, to get a better understanding. So we're going to go right here. Going to look up the definition of darnel. What?
Darnel.
An Eurasian ryegrass. Lord is very specific about these tares. An Eurasian grass that widely grown as forage. So we could look up, what is Eurasian? What is that? the largest continental area on Earth, comprising of all Europe and Asia. So what that sound like? Sound like so-called white man. See? The tares. So-called white man. See? What that look like? That look like Esau, Edom, but they black. So I say Israel is not all of Israel, man. Yup. Yup. Tares, man. See? Talking about South China morning. They look like they look like sisters, man. They ain't no sisters. That's why that movie, that Matrix, talking about, yeah, they look like us, but they the enemy. And if they can't be saved, then as long as they ain't saved, they still the enemy. And if he's a tear, he can't be saved. He can't be. Period. That's a dreadful judgment to fall upon. To be a so-called Negro and be from the so-called white man. That's really lukewarm to me, because he can't even be saved. Okay, his people don't want him. Esau, Edom, and the Lord don't want him. That's a scary position to be in. That's a real gray area. He must have did something real wicked back then, man.
You've seen a number of companies wiped out.
Crypto winter is here.
That is not unrelated to what's happened with the Fed.
Sam, hold on a second. Let's go.
Dan Bankman-Fried faces investigations from U.S. regulators and potentially the Department of Justice.
He invested $3 million into Luna, and now it's worth 1,000.
You create these asset bubbles. That is, bubbles in stock markets and bond markets and real estate markets and art markets.
And to water for that, sisters, to water for that. I knew it was Rawchaa. I knew it was something. I'm glad you let me know. I appreciate it. I remember seeing it and I wrote it down. But I've been learning so much lately. Yeah, I need to remember the names of the elders. They haven't even addressed me yet. So I'm still real new, but I'm waking up. I know my rank is not like theirs. I know that. I know my rank is very lowly. But I know that I'm work more than all these other nations. Fuck them. So, but I'm glad where I'm at. I'm just a news article guy. I'm a Dan Rather, basically. A so-called Negro Dan Rather for Great Millstone, And I'm actually gonna try to go fellowship with my head camp leader, and Lord willing, he can bring us together before this end. Because you know how he said he brought the apostles out in two, and it's me and him, the only ones that's out here teaching Bahasham, Yahawashi. I don't know anybody else doing highways and byways videos but me and him. So I feel like the Lord's putting the spirit on me to get with him, and hey, let's bind together. But I gotta pray to Bahasham, Yahawashi deliver me from this case that I got with Esau Edom. They trying to falsely accuse me, and I gotta, I don't want to put our elder. I don't want to put my elder in jeopardy. You know what I mean? I don't want to put it. Yes, I know they're better than me. Yeah, they are. I don't want to put them in jeopardy. I want to make sure that I got all this handled with first. I want to make sure I got out the way. But the Lord's giving me the work to be able to do it. I only got one day off this week, which is today. I want to go give alms, some thanks to those and apostles, and then I want to get all my stuff together. And then once I get out of that case, I'm gonna try to see when the Lord puts the spirit on him to allow me to get him out of his situation and allow me to get out of my situation, because we both share the same similar situation. We don't have a resting place out here. We're always around 2/3, and it's just Lord, I can't stand 2/3, man. And I got a real 2/3 with me. I got a real 2/3. I'm talking about one that's battling me every day. Okay, and it's my own intermediate family, and they don't even know they're doing it. That's how crazy the Lord is. How crazy the Lord does stuff. He's Lord cold. you know. And Slovakia, I'm gonna keep going in. Sometimes I get to talking a lot. This is all I do. This is all I do. I don't do nothing else. I'm on fire for the Lord. I go to work and think all day about what am I going to do to serve Bahasham, Yahawashi. So let's finish what these doggone crackers talking about.
Whatever people invest their money in with borrowed money, and then those bubbles burst, and then that causes a downturn. So
Stephen Pearlstein has been reporting on the financial markets and the economy for almost 40 years.
That look like that. Bubbles tend to be everything bubbles these days, because if the source of it is cheap money, then you can be pretty much sure that it's not just real estate, or it's not just stocks, or it's not just tech and telecom, or it's not just Bitcoin. These things are connected by rubber bands with each other in a sort of way, and what propels one propels all of them.
There's a famous line by investor Warren Buffett.
You know, you don't find out who's been swimming naked until the tide goes out. And
almost everyone I spoke to repeated that line to describe what's been happening.
When interest rates start to rise and the tide pulls out, as Warren Buffett would say,
you don't know who's swimming naked until the tide goes out. You see who's swimming without a bathing suit when the tide is receding.
Which is all Esau, Edom, all of them swimming butt ass naked. You've been revealed. Hold on. This is what he really saying. They're literally quoting the Bible, literally on news. And the six pack average Joe don't know. Jeremiah chapter 49, verse 10. Like, man. It's lucky. Yeah. That's what they doing. They literally showing you what's happening. They you know, when it said the tide, which is that confusion. And now since the tide done washed away, everybody know now. You know, everybody who has eyes to see and ears to hear, we know. But it says, but I have made Esau bare. Jeremiah 49:10. I have uncovered his secret places. He shall not be able to hide himself. He talk about that tide. They was hiding themselves through that tide with all that money. They had all our people worshiping him. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. I want to also read a new NLT for, you know, new believers, because, you know, that's a passage that, you know, some people, you know, might not understand. So it says, I will strip bare the land of Edom, the so-called white man, and there will be no place left to hide. His children, his brothers, and his brothers will all be destroyed. Ooh, and Edom itself will be no more. But I will protect the orphans who remain among you. Your widows, too, can depend on me for help. Man, calling Yahawashi, man. Yeah, Sophia has been really working with me lately, because I've taken in this oath. She's really been working with me, and I'm so glad. I'm so glad that the Yahawashi Yahawashi has been working with me. But yeah, I know. It's crazy. But we're gonna get into this a little bit more. We're gonna see what else these Edomites talking about.
Find out who's wearing their swimsuits when the tide goes out.
what's amazing is that a lot of people, and I would say I'm included in this, think that there probably will be a bigger correction at some point.
But look, when you say you expect there to be a bigger correction, what does that actually mean? I mean, a lot of people are going to see this and get concerned about that, obviously.
Yeah. Let me try and be honest, but not scare people.
Yeah,
that's possible. So the markets were down 20% last year. That seems like a lot. And if we were in a normal market cycle, I'd say, okay, we're done. You know, we're probably at the bottom. I don't know if I can safely say that we're at the bottom.
Oh, well, we can safely say it. Let's pull it up. Okay, female, you, Esau, Edom, you're at the bottom, okay? Because this is where you always been. This is where you always been since the dawn of time. Genesis 3:14. This is where you've been the whole time. I don't know if we can safely say it. Yeah, you are. You're carnal, okay? You're a carnal woman. You don't understand that you've always been the basis of men because all you care about is carnal shit. And the Lord Yahawashi said unto the serpent, which is now the dragon, look up draconian laws, harsh laws, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly thou shalt go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. You know, the serpents don't eat dust. So we know it's talking about these people, you know. All they do is care about carnal stuff. So, no, I don't mean to keep pausing it. I'm sorry. It's locky. I know I do that a lot. So let's get back. Let's get back what she's talking about.
Because of what we're looking back at, this age of easy money. No.
Hold on. Why you keep walking on my damn feet? Yeah, man. Esau Edom, man, don't want this truth out, man. They keep messing with my feed. Everything, man. Okay.
Artificially inflated. And so is it possible that you could see a continued correction at some point? It is possible. Now, I'm personally not going out and selling my entire stock portfolio. I don't want to scare people, but I do want to say that I think we are in a once in a lifetime financial transition. And I think that everybody needs to sort of strap in for that. And if you need your money in the next couple of years, I would be more cautious than not.
You should be more cautious, Eve, because you finna get your ass twerked because you keep playing with the Lord, coming over there talking all that bull biggity with all the other Esau Edoms. And they're so scared they didn't turn into women and they asking you for help because they don't know what the fuck to do. They know Esau Edom coming, but fuck that ass up, and they know your ass have no idea. So they're like, what should we do? You know how Esau Edom is. He always want to ask his wife what to do. Every time. What do we do, babe? She'd be like, do this. They be in peril, okay? Because it's out of order, man. It's supposed to be the man telling the woman what to do. And serving, you know. Bahasham is supposed to tell him what to do, and he's supposed to tell her what to do. That's how it works. It's a system. But now we got this. This is real interesting. It says U.S. drone. Let me turn my music back up. It says U.S. drone. Oh, Lord. Ain't playing no more. Oh, man. Hold on. Hold on. Bear with me. Come on now. Ooh. All right. All right, it's on. Okay. All right. So now I'm gonna come back over here. U.S. drone crashes after encounter with Russian jet. Okay, so they're trying to have this whole talk, right, about the U.S. drone and everything, saying that they attacked, right? Because this is just the U.S. I believe, kind of Lord putting the spirit on me. They're saying that, but more than likely Russia didn't do that, because you got to remember Russia needs help. It talks about Ezekiel chapter 38 verse 4. All the other nations are going to come with Russia and turn on them. So at this point, Russia's not trying to beef with U.S. on a level where, you know, they talking a little bit of shit, but they're not trying to beef with them yet. They're just trying to show them we're not backing down. And they because they want to see the other nations. They want to see the other nations kind of be like, well, we're not backing down. we might go join with them and rock with them, and we might be able to take out America and become a new superpower. You know, and that's what they're thinking because Revelation 17:17, Lord put it in their hearts, which is their minds. But while they're saying this is what Russia's saying. It said Russia denies downing Reaper drone. U.S. tells to halt hostile fights. See what I'm saying? He said, look at that Edomite. He like, come on, bro. We ain't do that, bro. I swear, man, the Lord called. Yeah, like, we ain't do that, bro. We ain't doing that, bro. You know, I don't even want to go too much into it. But it just says U.S. says Russia denied downing U.S. MQ-9 Reaper drone in the Black Sea. And you know how all these Edomites is. It's both of them lying. Both of them lying. We did this. We didn't do this. Both of them lying. Okay? Because this is all they do. This is all they do, man. They born out the womb, speaking lies. The whole damn time. Everybody listening. And they speaking lies the whole time. Psalms 58:3. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray soon as they be born. How much more for the old Edomites, the old Esau Edoms? Man, they elder liars. They elders at lying, okay? They know how to lie very correctly and well, okay, to deceive the masses. That's what they do. They both dropped one at the same time. Look, 13 hours ago. How long was this one ago? When they dropped this? March 15th, 3:45 p.m. So, hey, actually, they done dropped that shit quick. They said, hold on, we don't want no problems, fam. But while you doing that, China is threatening America, Babylon the Great. And America was like, look, we don't want no problems. You see what I'm saying? So that's how you know they lying. Because this is showing U.S. wants problems with Russia, but they don't want no problem with China. Because they know China is act just like them. Some fucking liars. Moab, all them, China, all them. They some damn liars, man. So now it says police to deploy sensitive sites in Venia, okay, warning against Islamic attack. So this is something that's going on over there, you know, and this is just scripture, you know, that's real common, you know. Matthew, I'm gonna try to speed it up because I try to do it about an hour. I'm going over right now, you know. Try to do it about an hour because I don't like, you know, got a lot of people got stuff going on. And I try to be quick with it. Just like the elders said, they say you got to be quick with it. Sometimes I take a little longer than others. But Matthew 24:6 says, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So we're going to hear more stuff as the time goes along. And they're going to hear different stuff happening. The Lord's going to be moving those pawns. He's going to be moving those heathen around about. Like he said he would in Joel 3:10, down on in. He's going to keep moving them around and getting ready to judge them. Now it says, see why tensions are rising between U.S. and China over Taiwan. And this is going to be the next rumor of war. This is going to be a factor because you already got, I got an article about it. I'm not going to even talk about it yet, about what Russia was saying. But I got, of course, Yahawashi gave me all. This is going to be the next battle that's coming. Look, man, liars, man. Smiling like they finna go get a peanut butter and jelly sandwich together or some shit. They finna go to war, man. I can't wait till Lord take thee. Never like this place. After I found out Yahawashi house I was gonna blow this place up, man, I was so damn happy.
Jets screaming over its skies, military ships sailing off its coast, daily occurrences for Taiwan, living under the constant threat of a possible Chinese attack. Beijing's communist leadership claims Taiwan as part of its territory, despite having never ruled it. Tensions rising across the Taiwan Strait since Nancy Pelosi's visit in August. The first visit by a U.S. House Speaker to the island in 25 years.
We will not abandon our commitment to Taiwan.
Who can forget China's response last year?
See what I'm saying? Esau Edom salty, man. I ain't even got nobody watching my stuff. And he's salty, want to disrupt my internet feed. See what I'm saying? That's why I can't stand Esau Edom buckethead ass. Shit, man. Well, let me fix this. Let me go back. Cause we gonna watch this, damn it. We gonna watch this. Damn it. We're gonna watch this. Okay. They don't want to talk about it. Okay. I got a significant family that's in the military. They don't even talk about it because they're terrified. They know Yahawashi finna come fuck that ass up. So we're gonna go back a little bit because this is what's coming. They know it's coming.
If China attacked. Yes, we have a commitment to do that.
But the U.S. has reasons to worry about a Chinese invasion of Taiwan, protecting valuable semiconductor chips. Taiwan is a global leader in semiconductors, tiny chips that power everything from computers to cars. The island producing 70% of global supply.
Ooh.
Defending democracy,
Ooh.
losing democracy.
Now you see how big this is. You see how big this battle is going to be? They control 70% of basically everything that's computer-wise in America, Babylon the Great. And also, what's that bank? The Silicon Valley Bank. They also deal with a lot of technological stuff. This is the Lord cutting them off of their technological supplies, which is also going to include their detection systems for them damn nukes. And that's what's the biggest thing about it, what people not understanding. That shit, they got technological stuff to be able to deter them nukes, but they ain't gonna have that shit. If all the banks closed, there ain't no cops around, there ain't no water, there ain't no nothing. Man, this place gonna get blown the fuck up as soon as they get a chance. And I did another video. It said China was taking notes on how Russia was fighting in Ukraine. And they've been taking notes, and they're going to prepare, and they're going to invade Taiwan because there's another. I don't want to say it yet. I'm finna pull it up. So let's finish just watching this.
Democratic Taiwan to communist China would shatter U.S. credibility in the Indo-Pacific region, protecting U.S. alliances. Asian countries would face an even more powerful China, a heavily surveilled police state with little freedom of speech. The stakes are indeed high, but experts do believe there's reason for optimism. Do you think the U.S. and China are headed in a positive, optimistic direction?
The idea that conflict between the U.S. and China is inevitable, I strongly disagree with that. Meaningful channels of communication between the U.S. and the PRC, that helps us minimize unknowns. It helps us minimize confusion and misunderstandings. And ultimately, that's good for Taiwan.
U.S.-China relations on a downward spiral since that suspected Chinese spy balloon bursting months of Beijing D.C. diplomacy. As two democratic allies, the U.S. and Taiwan get even closer. Taiwan's president and the third in line to the U.S. presidency, meeting on American soil. As tensions escalate, all eyes will be on China. And where is this all headed?
It's going to head to World War III, the last war ever. And China, you know, they took in a lot of how America, Babylon the Great gets down, and that's how they're acting now. They've done enough studying. They're trying to act like, nah, we're not doing nothing wrong. We're not planning to go to war. You got America, Babylon the Great over here talking about they making 5 nuclear submarines, and like, while World War III going on, they like, well, they're not going to have nuclear weapons on them. They're just going to be nuclear powered. Man, you motherfuckers is some liars, man. And they're getting ready to battle, and this is on Esau Edom. Damn, man. How you niggas got all these damn weapons? You can't keep my own line on for 2 hours. That's all I'm saying, man. Niggas is liars, man. Germany's still occupied, never fully sovereign. Vladimir Putin's bizarre remark. So how much more for Israel? For a superpower, they complaining that they still occupied and never fully sovereign. How much more for Israel? We're gonna pull this up. Sophia been leveling me up. I used to have to write down scriptures and go through the articles, and now I can just skim through them, and Lord just goes, put that one out there, put that one out there. The Lord's been leveling me up a little bit. I've been diligently seeking the Lord the best I can, and I'm at the water for Yahawashi, man. Isaiah chapter 19 verse 20. And it shall come to pass for a sign and for a witness unto the Lord Yahawashi of hosts in the land of Egypt, which we know in Revelation chapter 11 verse 8. This is Sodom, spiritually Sodom and Egypt. That's why they got pyramids on the dollar. For they shall cry unto the Lord because of the oppressors, and he shall send them a savior, which is Yahawashi, and a great one, and he shall deliver them. Lord willing, we part of that number. So we're gonna go over here. Germany occupied, so we're gonna pass through that. Now it says BBC World host Laura Trevelyan quits weeks after apologizing for her family's slavery links. So this is all Esau Edom bearing his shame, bearing that shame, that stigma of being a slave owner. Slave owners. I've been seeing a lot of Esau Edom. They've been trying to look back in their future and try to be like, oh, let me try to make sure that I'm not part of that. But it doesn't even matter, because it says that, you know, you'll seek out your. They said that they'll. That's what we're gonna pull it up. Even the ones that are not part of the slavery, you got the slave owners. Don't even matter. Don't even matter. Lord don't give a fuck. You got your balls come out of the Esau Edom, come out Esau Edom balls, you finna get destroyed. Don't matter. Hebrews chapter 12 verse 17. For ye know that how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, when it was supplanted by Jacob, he gave it over to Jacob. This is set up by the Lord, because he promises Genesis 3:15 he would separate the seed. So he put the spirit on Esau to do this. So he would have inherited the blessing. He was rejected, for he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears. So you got those other Esauites looking like, no, we was the ones who was helping out the slaves during the time. That don't fucking matter. That don't fucking matter. That don't fucking matter, man. So you quitting and apologizing, we don't give a fuck, bitch. You still gonna get blown up. Give a fuck about no sorry. You've been trying, we gonna wait till 2023 say sorry. Bitch, you going down. U.S. to limit FPAS forever chemicals in drinking water. Okay, and this is man, this is big. Okay, because they were talking about it yesterday. I did a video. It was talking about it was in the toilet paper. Now they're saying it's in the water. But you know, whenever they put stuff out, Esau even been knowing that's been going on. They're just trying to put it out now because they're trying to seek salvation with many tears, trying to be like, yeah, we were on it. We were the first to do everything. We're the first to tell you the truth. We're the first to bring up the news article. Well, you was also the first one to kill Abel. You was the first murderers on the planet. So we know y'all was the first liars too, motherfuckers. According to Pastor Tahar, okay? So the U.S. government has proposed its first ever restrictions on 6 harmful chemicals found in drinking water. Research has suggested over 200 million Americans likely drink water contaminated with FPAS chemicals, which have been linked to a host of health issues, including cancer. And see, now we know that like it says, it says about the doctors. Because if you control all the crates, you control all the everything, you control the weather with the heart machine, you control all that shit, how you gonna have dirty ass water? Unless you wanted to. Job 13:4, but ye are forgers of lies, ye are often physicians of no value. That's how we know they're liars. Okay, they're liars. Okay, they knew that 200 million Americans, like, you know how long it take to count how many, how you gonna know how many Americans is likely drinking the water but not know what's going on? See what I'm saying? They know what's going on. Okay, this is all leading to the charagma. But up until now, the pollutants have only been regulated by some U.S. states. Some. U.S. Tuesday issued a rule. See, they know what's going on. The U.S. Tuesday issued a rule that will require communities to test and treat water for 6 of the chemicals. Oh, now they want to test it. Now that we on the brink of World War III, now you want to start testing the water. That's now what's going on. All right, we done with that. So Argentina, inflation soared past the 100% mark. So their inflation is over 100%. What you think they're gonna do? Just like I did another video talking about the 118, and I actually got this from another Akim. It was 118 different nations or countries who are literally going digital. They're fully going digital. Like they're preparing it. They're amplifying it to submit it. So that's what's going on right now. You know, it says Argentina's inflation rate has soared past 100% for the first time since the end of hyperinflation in the early 90s. And around the early 90s, this reminds me, Apostle Tahar was talking about Halley's Comet. Okay, and he said it has 7 tails on it, which means completion or perfection. That was basically the beginning of the fall of the so-called white man, but it had to be done indecently in order. We're almost there. We're almost there. So inflation hit 102.5 in February. That was last month, before the Passover. How much more now? The country statistics agency said, meaning the price of many consumer goods has more than doubled since 2022. Argentina has been in economic difficulty for years. Most of the population now live in poverty. And what does it say about the Lord putting people in poverty? It says something about it. That's why I said don't help them, because the Lord makes them poor. The Lord makes them poor. Yep. Samuel chapter 2, verse 7. As I said, don't help them. It's the Lord judging them. You know, there was a time that I was poor and brought to a lower state. That's the Lord judging me to see if I really love Israel, see if I really care. You know, and that really was where I found him. So I'm glad that he bring me there. 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 7. I ain't really been that rich anyways, though. So 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 7. The Lord maketh poor and maketh rich. He bringeth low and lifteth up. Man, calling you how about Yahawashi for that? He lift up, man. It says, but the food and drink sector saw the most dramatic increase recent, with prices growing by 9.8%. Argentina, compared to January. So 1 month, it rose 10%. Argentina media said that increase would partially be due to sharp hike in the price of meat, which rose almost 20%. So they over there, man. They go over there, they want a double cheeseburgers from McDay days. They got paid $500 million, basically. Like, they're over there struggling. Like, 100% inflation mark. Then, so here we go with the gun control. Biden issues executive order on background checks, and this is him coming into more control. U.S. President Joe Biden has issued executive order that aims to increase the number of background checks, including for firearm sales. It aims to move the U.S. as close to universal background checks possible without additional legislation. A Democratic president signed a measure Tuesday. This was yesterday during a visit to Monterey Park, California, where a gunman killed 11 people in January. And when you look up how many mass shootings there's been, it's been a lot. It's been a lot this year alone. And we ain't even been in here. We ain't even, basically, this is the Passover was the first month. So we haven't even got really into this year. But we're going to look at the results, since before then and now. It's let me see. They got a lot. I gotta find the number. Results. So many of them. We got 5 pages of massacres, and it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's got about 20. We've had about 100. We've had about 100 shootings. Okay, in the last 2-3 months. Okay, the Lord's been really jacking shit up. And jacking shit up. It was at like 84, 85 the last time I checked. He says the list of mass shootings took place from the United States in 2023. Like, look at that. That's all the mass shootings. That's all the mass shootings. Yeah, mass shootings, February, 52. January, 52, February, 43, March, they ain't even count them yet because we still in the middle of it. Total number dead, 87. 54, total number wounded, 205. See, occurred at school or university, 2 of them. And actually, there's some that occurred at workplaces that they didn't even count. Okay, that I've actually done videos on that happened here in Oklahoma. So it's way more than that. But you know how I did that video talking about Fox News? They always watering down what's really going on. It's a lot of death going on right now, man. That's why they're doing executive orders to control them guns. But it also said, they're gonna take them away. And this will say, let me find it. It's a specific. I did a video on it a long time ago, so I haven't done this precept in a minute. Where is it at? It's not that one. Man, where was it? It's not one of them. That's not that one. That's talking about the nukes. Man, it's been a long time since I looked it up. Lord willing, I'll go put it back in the comment board. But basically, it's a scripture that talk about their weapons will be useless. If I can't find it, I'm gonna use one of these other ones. Okay. I think it's Psalms. Let's see what this says. This looks like the one. Go up in the spirit. Let me pull it up. So Psalms 89:43. Thou hast also turned the edge of his sword, and has not made him stand in battle. Yeah, this is the one. Made him not to stand in battle, and has made his glory to cease, and cast his throne down to the ground. 2 days of his youth, that's how shortened. Thou hast covered him with shame. Selah. That's talking about the so-called white man, their weapons. They're not gonna work. So you got all these people talking about, I'm gonna get a gun to protect myself. Blah, 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 blah. Nah, it's not gonna matter in the end. Okay. These people got drones and all types of stuff. You think a AK-47 or a pistol is gonna save you? Ain't nothing material is gonna save you on it, and it's gonna be Bahasham Yahawah that saved you if you were Don to. So now it says Rawchaa Sunzak, China represents challenge to world order. See, they're scared about China. That's why they told in the other video I did, he told China, said, I don't want no beef. You don't want no beef with China because you know that you beef with China, the rest of the people are going to get with the BRICS nations, like it says, Ezekiel 38. They're going to destroy America, Babylon the Great. And also says in Jeremiah 50, verse 11 and 12, that your mother will be sore confounded, which is Great Britain, and will leave you desolate with them. So let's see this. This was a long video I did, but
not everyone can upload an entire image library while directing a photo shoot and managing online bookings while capturing the perfect.
It's a spirit, you know. He said, "No, I ain't got to do this one a little longer. Got a lot of topics. I'm almost done though. I got about 4 more. I'm almost done."
Prime Minister, is China dangerous?
China is a country with fundamentally different values to ours, and it represents a challenge to the world order. And that's why it's right that we are alert to that and take steps to protect ourselves, protect both our values, stand up for our values and protect our interests. And that's what our new integrated review does, makes that crystal clear. And I think the actions of the government over the past few months under my leadership demonstrate that we do take that challenge seriously. We've blocked investment in sensitive sectors like semiconductors, for example, and it's important that we keep the country safe, and that's what we'll continue to do.
Talking of action, should TikTok be banned on all government phones?
So we don't routinely comment on matters like that, but what I would say is, of course, we take security of devices seriously, and we look also at what our allies are doing. And
see how he said commonly we don't say this shit, but yes, we're saying this shit. We're gonna block you, motherfuckers, because there's too much truth going out and we want to get it to stop. And they were talking about how they're taking precautions of what China's saying seriously, and they're cutting stuff, right? Well, I did a video talking about they were cutting, like they said, like semiconductors and stuff. They cut off one of the major exports of like technological stuff, and you know how they are. They're like a big ass giant computer over there. So they need that technological shit to run their country. So that's why China the other day was saying the US is hindering them, and they're starting to get pissed off. And so is Russia, and so is India and Iran. They just went and made there's another article that was talking about they made agreement together again. They came back together and was like, we're cool again. And that's that BRICS nation forming. And they know it. They know it. They know this is coming. This is what's gonna happen. Yeah, this is the one. Yeah, you want me to pull it up. Yep. Numbers 35, 33. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land. That's why we said our weapons are not carnal. We're not supposed to be using weapons. We're not supposed to even be touching them. Because that shows our faith in Bahasham, Yahawashi. We got everybody else around here strapped up, except us. So for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. That's why you don't want to pick up these carnal weapons. I've never even, it was a while ago, it was about 2-3 years ago. It was the first time I ever even fired a weapon. Okay, like 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, it was like 4 or 5 years ago. Yep. It was about 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I was young. And I had a dude that I was with. It was on, at that time I wasn't in the truth. So he was like, talking about, yeah, let's do this for New Year's. And he let me shoot the gun in the ground like 2 or 3 times. I didn't even know how to clean it. I didn't know how to, reload it. I still don't to this day. Like, I don't need no weapons. We got Bahasham Yahawashi. He's the ultimate weapon. Don't need no guns. But you got some brothers that might like going to the gun range and stuff, sure, whatever. But that's, the Lord's still dealing with it, because they're not going out killing stuff, So, but it's all about slowly detaching from America, Babylon the Great. So eventually we don't want to be picking up none of them things. Me personally, I don't fuck with it. I hate weapons. I've never used a weapon on somebody. We were always kind of, I'm from Greenville, Mississippi. We was always kind of like, if you really had a problem, we use our fists. You want to fight about it, whatever. But, more than likely, we smart enough to have a conversation about it and squash it that way. That's how I was, my family, how they were, being raised up. Well, not my brother, but me, that's just kind of how I thought about it. Because the Lord put spirit on me to be that way. But Russian invasion of Ukraine and China's aggression. See, China got aggression over Taiwan threatened to create a world defined by danger. They're saying this stuff. Okay, they didn't talk about this stuff in the news. The world's facing the biggest risk of in decades of security threats escalating, including into uncontrolled conflict. Uncontrolled conflict. What's that? Hell, chaos, breakdown with nuclear weapons, said UK government review update, which added the most intermediate security priority as to tackle the threat posed by Russia's war in Europe. And here you go again talking. See, same dude. Tell me we're taking precautions. Well, they're not gonna work. You're gonna get blown up. French bin strike. Paris folds its noise as waste piles up. So over here, they saying fuck all y'all. They're on strike and they throwing away a bunch of shit and leaving trash all over again. You know how it was over there. The Black Plague. Wearing them big ass boots. Bitch, hold on, Salakia, my internet went out. But see, look, you got them big ass Ugg boots on. Bitch, you ain't running from nothing. You finna get killed. The bins are overflowing in large areas of Paris, a weekend strike by waste collectors, with thousands of tons of rubbish sitting abandoned on the street. Capital. It's dirty. It attracts from playing on French radio. The workers. Oh, okay. The workers are striking over the Macron government's to raise the pension age to 60 years. That's what I'm saying, man. These people, man. Look at this shit, man. These dirty ass motherfuckers, man. Just walking around the shit. Ain't nobody doing nothing about it. Esau Edom talking about putting the business right next to it. Yeah, like Edomites, man. Can't stand them motherfuckers, man. All right, so now we got in pics. This is why you don't need to be having weapons right here. Iran, here's the new Iran. Here's Iran releases images of reversed engineered U.S. drones. How they get that? I don't know. America, Babylon the Great. And that's why the Lord said he is going to use Satan's own weapons to destroy him. They over here got a damn spy drone, a damn reverse engineered U.S. drone on the back of a Tundra. That's crazy, man. What the fuck you gonna do when that shit pull up on your ass? With some damn, he got some damn James Bond PP7 guns on the side of that. Yeah, you ain't doing nothing. That shit gonna light your ass up. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be fucking with none of this. You don't want to be fucking with none of these weapons, man. Esau Edom is giving the sword, man. This is his profession. And this is probably like, since they gave this to them, this is probably not even like nothing even new to them. This is like some just regular ass drone that they had years and years ago that they gave to Iran, because Iran's always talking about they want to blow up America. So for them to have this, you know that there's some stuff that's not being shown. But, you know, that's why you need to repent and convert. Because Yahawashi and Yahawashi got all that saved for two-thirds of Jake who don't want to repent. He's got all that shit that they ain't talking about hidden. So when he pulls that shit out, Jake is going to be going through the worst, man. So Florida's to prepare for increasingly intense hurricanes. So this is let me see. This is my last one. This is my last one. So you know, they got some more hurricanes coming. Hurricane Ian flattered parts of northwest Florida last September and caused wide flood spreading. You know, we got floods going on in California right now, and the snow. So this is the Lord, you know, steady, you know, sending scourges for amendment. The waters took months to recede. Now residents in Central Florida are figuring out how to live in a place where hurricanes could become more damaging because of climate change. You know, that's not climate change. There ain't no climate change. It's them doing it. And I've looked it up once, but I want to look it up one more time. And then we're gonna close out with a scripture. See, it's got the University of Alaska system about heart. It's a high frequency. It's a high frequency. That's what it looks like right there. Okay, and that thing controls the weather. Okay, it's a high, like particle accelerator. Fuck so-called white people. Fuck smart. High frequency active auroral research program. I remember looking this up before I came into truth and believed this was how they were creating the weather. I was talking to people about it. And they was like, "You crazy? We're gonna find out." I ran the Great Millstone. They were talking about it too. I was like, I knew I was talking about, man. I knew this is what this was. You know, now the only spirit of Bahasham Yahawashi, man. I knew this what this was. But it's a scientific endeavor aimed to studying the properties of behavior of the ionosphere. See, they're studying it and knowing how to create weather. That's why in California it was always nice all the time, and then right now they got it flooding and stuff because they're crashing the system. They're attacking the system. It's a siege on America right now, and they want to cause all these disasters. Of course, it's controlled by Yahawashi Yahawashi first and foremost, but you know, he's using them to try. They're thinking that they're going to do that and then force people to come in and take this charagma, and they're going to be the ones to save the day again. You know, so we're going to close out with, you know, all roads lead here. Revelations 13:16. We're going to close out with it. We're going to keep pushing it. We're going to keep speaking about it. We're going to keep talking about it. So it says, and he causeth all both rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, that no man might buy or sell, say he that had the MARK, or the name of the beast, which is United Nations, NATO, or EU, and the number of his name. And the number, I'm in the right spot, and the number is this. You know, because Jake always like try to act like it's not there. So here it is right there. See? There it is. Here is wisdom. Let him that have an understanding count the number of the beast. United Nations, NATO, EU, was the number of a man. His number is 600,36. So the water for tuning in, sister. You know, you always stay around. You know, you got my heart. And the water for you know, for the all the help, you know, from Great Millstone down on in, brotherhood, and the sincere sisters who have you know, been here for me in a way where it's spiritually, you know. Like I was saying, the water for y'all being here spiritually for me is definitely appreciated. I'm going to also continue in the faith. The water for tuning in. Call on Bahasham, Yahawashi. Lord willing, I can go up there and give some alms and give some appreciation to Great Millstone. And I'm kind of glad that the Lord put the spirit on you not to send me no garment, because I don't want to even put on a garment until I'm called. I don't even want to put one on yet. That's the Lord put spirit on me last night. He said, yeah, I'm just a servant, you know. I don't need no garment. I'm not worthy of that. I'm not being called. And that's why I was talking to I was listening to one of the other Akim yesterday, and he said that there's steps to it. I haven't even been called. I'm just a servant. I'm supposed to be showing them that, you know, I want to help the brotherhood and be there for the brotherhood. So, like I said, the water for tuning in. This is one of my long ones, but it has a lot of good information in it. So, the water for tuning in, sister. You've been here. So, and also all the other Akim and Akwath, you know, that are in the truth. Stay prayed up. Stay in this truth. So, Shalom. Lord willing, we get another lesson, another edifying lesson coming soon. So, Shalom.
All right, get your stuff ready if you're going to go get your phone.